What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another prediction, I guess I would say. And I had a lot of fun making my last video about why I think the Lions could legitimately win the NFC North. Why they will win the NFC North is what I put in my video, so I will stand by that statement. I will die on that hill, but I just had a lot of fun making that video. So I was sitting here thinking, what's another team that I think could really turn some heads this year? And the team that I ended up on was the Cleveland Browns, which obviously Kevin Stefanski, who was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, is now the head coach for the Browns. And there's just a lot of really, really good moves that the Browns have made in this offseason. And I think that this is a franchise-changing offseason for the Browns for a number of reasons. And I've kind of broken those down into three different things that I really think that the Browns have done right and why I think that they will be competitors this year in the AFC North. Now, there's also the wagon of a team of the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North. I don't know if they're going to win that division clear out. I will say that the Browns have continuously given the Baltimore Ravens problems, including beating them like 40-16 or 40-25, something like that last year. So the Browns, they can compete. And I think it's time to start believing in the Browns is essentially what this video is going to be. What's going on, guys? Editing Cam popping in here really quickly. If you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. I'm gaining a ton of subs recently. I appreciate all that support. If you're new hopping in here, Uncle Eric and I, who is the other guy who posts on my channel, we have a live show every Wednesday at about 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock to 6:30 Eastern time. We'll be sure to put a little premiere for it so you guys can hop in. We would love to have you guys come in and check that show out, as well as if you could show some support to my guy Jackson Kruger Sports. That would mean the world to me. Phenomenal human being. I've been working with him for a little bit now, and the dude is just a quality human being. One of those people that I'm glad I know. One of those people who I'm glad that I can make content for and we can work together. So let's start off with the coaching changes that I think and the front office changes that I think really put this team in the right direction. First things first is Andrew Berry, general manager of the team now. Andrew Berry is a very smart dude, went to Harvard. He's been with the Colts, he's been with the Eagles, and this is, I believe, his second stint with the Browns. I think that having the GM on board who's going to make the right decisions, and from what I see from this offseason, that he's made a number of outstanding decisions, really gets everything going in the right direction. Next thing that they did is Kevin Stefanski as the head coach, and I've made a video that I'll plug right here about what Kevin Stefanski brings to the Browns, and I'll go over it a little bit in this video as well. And first things first, and this really ties into the third really coaching change that they made, and that's bringing on Bill Callahan, who is just an outstanding offensive line coach, one of the legends of the game. And now going into what Stefanski likes to do, Stefanski is big on this wide zone, right? And running wide zone is difficult in the NFL. It's difficult wherever, but in the NFL, guys have done such a good job on it. You can see our offensive line here working in unison, right? Taking care of every linebacker in the box. Great job reaching on this. We're working to kick out here with our fullback, but really it's on this dude. Right, if our running back can read wide zone and we can see that, okay, we're going to crease this thing backside, this is where you start really making your money with wide zone and picking up some good yardage. And originally I wanted to make this video about why Nick Chubb is, a legit top 5 running back in the NFL. And, I just kind of one thing led to another, and I was like, let's just do the entire Browns. But, if Stefanski can get Nick Chubb to run wide zone and run it like this, and I'll go bring up a couple of clips of why I think Nick Chubb already runs wide zone really well, it really is a perfect marriage. And they can do it in a number of different ways, right? We saw wide zone on the first clip where it's 21 personnel, and we see wide zone in this clip where it's just straight up 11 personnel, one back, one tight end. We're running to the weak side, taking advantage of your numbers. We're working out with our tackle. We're working out right here. We're reaching this guard, right? We got to combo this nose tackle up to this Mike linebacker, and we're not picking up a ton of yards on this carry, but it's just a tough, hard-nosed run that you're picking up 5-6 yards on. And I think that this is right in Nick Chubb's wheelhouse, and we'll go through a couple of clips here of him doing this last year. This is wide zone, just a different look, right? This is just out of the gun. And Nick Chubb is a phenomenal running back, and somebody who I don't really think is talked about a lot, but this is an outstanding cut. Let's be honest on this thing right here. We're basically at where the tackle started, and he decides to stop on a dime and cut this thing right upfield. That's a great job. I was about to drop an F-bomb there. That's a great job. We got backers flowing over the top of the formation. We cut that thing back for a big gain. That's a pretty good ball carrier vision that he has there. And then we have something like this, right, where this is just 20 personnel, 2 backs, no tight ends, cut this thing all the way back for a touchdown. This is tough to do, right? And a lot of times backs on wide zone are taught to read the second down defensive lineman and make their cut off of that. So if we look at it in that situation, right, this defensive tackle right here who's in a 2-eye over the guard, he's the guy that we're reading. He works out. We see that we got to cut this thing back, maybe right here, but he just rides this wave and works all the way back. It is a phenomenal cut. And I think that Nick Chubb showed some real promise last year and how he was able to read this wide zone and just his running ability in general. I mean, this dude is a legitimate talent at the back. Right, and here we go right here, just, we're reaching that edge. He knows that we've got everything reached, and he's just going to burn this thing to the outside. He knows there's no way Lawrence Guy is going to get there. We work this thing all the way to the outside, and we're off for a big 12, 13-yard gain. And I think that Nick Chubb really just marries up so well to what Kevin Stefanski wants to run. Now, the next thing I want to go into here is how Stefanski can really help a guy like Odell Beckham and how they can help a guy like Jarvis Landry, because Kirk Cousins put up some decent numbers last year, right? And we're talking about building your play action game and building a passing game off of your wide zone and your inside zone, which is exactly what the Vikings did last year. If you hammer that wide zone, you hammer that inside zone enough, and you're effective, you got the guys up front who can run it, you're going to open things up down the field, because linebackers have no other option but to respect it. And that's the same thing with the safeties who are coming up to fill, right? And you look at our safety right here, all you need for him to do is just to take a quick hesitation, and that's what it is right there. It's not a lot. It's not like this dude needs to run up and stick his nose in the B gap, but all you need is just that quick hesitation. Boom, right there. Right, and now he's looking at the crosser right here. He's come off of that run game, but still we're able to work behind him with Stephon Diggs. And I think you have receivers like Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham who are going to thrive in this system. And it's not necessarily a system that's based on them. That's the thing. It's based on this running game, and that's going to open up so much stuff down the field and over the middle of the field for both of those guys. On top of that, you have the signings of Austin Hooper, and you have a tight end like David Njoku. And, even I thought when the Browns signed Austin Hooper, how does David Njoku fit into that? But when you go through and you watch Stefanski's film, a lot of his stuff is run out of 12 personnel. Here's 13 personnel. We got 3 tight ends over here. And David Njoku and Austin Hooper can fit right into what Stefanski wants to do. Right, you don't have to run stuff like this out of 13 personnel, but we can just see right here. I believe he's going to hit this corner. We're having him roll out into the flat. You got your crosser right here. I mean, this is just a classic play action with rolling out your quarterback, hit the flat if he's open. And this is stuff that's going to fit right into Baker's wheelhouse. Now, it's not exactly what he's used to running, since obviously he comes from a school like Oklahoma where they're used to airing the football out. But it's definitely stuff that a pro quarterback can do, and I think Baker's going to fit right in. Now, the next piece that the Browns had to address this offseason was the tackle position. And this is another thing that they did during free agency. And their tackles last year, time and time again, let them down. No offense to those guys. It could have just been an off year. You have Greg Robinson lined up at the right tackle spot. I believe he was a former 3rd overall pick. And those guys just had a bad year. And time again, it came in and it hurt Baker. And I don't really think that coaching staff did a lot to help out their tackles. I don't really necessarily know that they did a lot to help Chip or whatever they needed to do in order to get there. Maybe they just weren't doing it well because the tight end's in on this play. Right, but right off the snap here, Baker's going to end up feeling heat from his left side, our right. Just a bad technique from that tackle. And like I said, this happened time and time again. So what did the Browns do? They go out and they sign Jack Conklin, a guy who a lot of Detroit guys thought that they were going to get their hands on. They go out and they draft Jedrick Wills, which is really the third factor into why I believe in the Browns this year. They have addressed every position that they needed to, right? Here's another rep. I believe TJ Watt on this one. Turning our hips, opening our shoulders at that tackle spot. It's just a bad rep, man. It's a bad rep, and this happened time and time again for the Browns. And in a weird way, I think people like to see the Browns fail because they don't like Baker, and I just don't understand that narrative. I guess I can address that right now. I've heard nothing but good things from Baker. And I had a friend who trained with him a little bit in the pre-draft process, and all I heard was good things. All I heard was that he's a good dude, he trains hard, and he's ready for the league. And for some reason this year, it almost seemed like maybe it was all the commercials he did, I don't know. But I think that Baker is going to be set up in a position to thrive this year with this offense, them focusing on running the rock and them addressing those tackles. And we'll get to a couple of clips here with Jack Conklin, right? Jack Conklin playing right tackle for the Tennessee Titans, and they ran the hell out of the rock this year. And he's a phenomenal run blocker, and he does a great job in pass pro as well. But here's a couple of clips. Him, again, what are we running here with Tennessee? We're running wide zone. Fits right into what Cleveland's going to do this year, right? We're working out onto this end. Boom, strong with that inside arm. Extend those arms, get this dude out of there. Great job with him. Great job keeping a base, working with a base throughout the duration of his block. Here's another good reach block on the backside. And this is key a lot of times with wide zone because you're going to end up cutting these things back. Right, but this is a phenomenal job reaching on that backside, getting our arm to his midline right here, and then turning our shoulders, sealing this thing up, right? But phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. And a guy like Nick Chubb is going to be able to do stuff like that. Look at Earl Thomas just get work down the field. Tough one. Here we go again against the Chiefs. Jack Conklin here on a little play action going against Frank Clark, who had a phenomenal postseason, just locking guys down. And I think that he's going to be very, very consistent for the Cleveland Browns next year. And we all know what Jedrick Wills can do. That's why I didn't really focus on him a lot. I saw a ton of pre-draft stuff on him. A legitimate starting right tackle in the NFL right now, or left tackle, depending on where they move those guys. I would imagine they'd be able to do both. But a couple other draft picks that really stuck out to me, and that's Grant Delpit. I think they just absolutely stole this dude. It is a great play from him coming up and making a play on this running back. Not a lot of safeties are willing to go and do that. And then the other guy that I really, really liked was Jacob Phillips from LSU. A couple of clips from this Auburn game that really stuck out to me. Jacob Phillips taking on this pole right here. He's actually not the guy making the tackle right there, playing Mike or Sam, it looks like for them. I'm going to guess that it's going to be what they would call the Mike, because they got their other guy down here on the line of scrimmage. He just comes down, takes on this pole, squeezes the gap. That's a great job. That's a phenomenal job. Whenever you can get guys like that to jump on the grenade, you know, for your teammate, you're going to want that, especially at the backer position, so you can get guys scraping and filling. And then Grant Delpit right here, talk about closing speed, closing from what looks to be 10, 12 yards away, closing on this little bubble right there. That's a tough play to make, but he comes up and he makes that play in open space. And like I said, I really do think that the Browns have put themselves in a position to succeed this year, and I really do think it's time to start believing in the Browns. Another bold prediction from me, I guess, but I'm just putting the pieces together. I'm making logical decisions over here, and that's how I base what I watch my film on. That's how I base what I make my predictions on. You know, people were lighting me up when I said the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl, and they went down 24 to the Texans. But hey man, what do I know? So anyway, guys, with all that being said, I'm the Hook Cam. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative. If you did, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, it would absolutely mean the world to me. If you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well to Jackson Kruger Sports. Does a phenomenal job with some of the content he puts out there, putting out content left and right. That'll mean the world to both of us. With all that being said, guys, I'm the Hook Cam. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.